is
cracking myself up.
she is attractive to the American people because first and foremost,
she looks like Tina Fey.
And sounds like Roseanne Barr.
And she's more like the American people in many ways, her expressions and her comments. But most Americans don't think they're qualified to be president. That's her major mistake. She is more like the American people, which means she's not qualified to be president, because most American people are not qualified to be the president, period. That is a reality. And somehow,
and that's that elitism charge that they keep saying, oh, Obama's elitist because he's educated, you know, because he's smart. And the whole thing with George Bush has been he's a regular guy. He's a guy you could have a beer with. Well, now it's time to take away the car keys, fortunately.
well, it's interesting, however, Bush was educated in the same kind of an institution as Obama. Bush is a Yellie.
Yes, that's right.
Bush came out of Yale. He came out of the factory that produces the CIA.
And he's got an MBA.
That is correct. So, and in this country, all of my personal life, I've been told that as a black man, you had to be really well qualified. And the ultimate in qualifications is a Harvard education in this country for measurement purposes. And obviously, if that is what I'm supposed to be, that gets me equal to the rest of you, or at least competitive. That's not elitism, but it's being played as elitism. And unfortunately, Biden and Obama are not handling it very well. I mean, all Obama has to say is, wait a minute, all of the lives you have told me that I should be well qualified, I went about making myself well qualified. And when I did get all those qualifications, I immediately decided to share my talent and try to give the same inspiration to other kids in my community organizing days. That gets you right out of elitism, totally out of elitism. Because, you know, elitism, you are the people that Henry Paulson's trying to bail out. That's who went on to become the real elitists, the investment banking crowd and the people who managed to screw up the whole economic system. That's where the elitists are, those that make all that money. He went about doing the things that you do on a give back.
But we saw how they made fun of the community organizers at
Giuliani
the Republican
did
convention. Giuliani did it,
In his
Sarah
speech.
Palin did it. And of course now the Democrats are coming back. Jesus was a community organizer. You know, which I think it's a good line.
That is a good line. And Phil Graham's line about the economic problems being all in our heads and a matter of perception isn't going to be there anymore.
Americans are a bunch of whiners.
Yeah, a bunch of whiners is what Phil Graham, who's
Well, you said it to
McCain's
those
close
people in
advisor.
Antioch that are looking at those foreclosure signs on their property. I don't think they're whining. I think they're legitimately saying, nobody told me what I was signing. Nobody told me I needed 20% down, not 2% down, and 18% 1 year from now. They knew that I couldn't get that additional 18% to fill that gap, and they knew that if I didn't fill that gap, I had to start paying these huge numbers. Nobody told me any of that. Yes, you would assume that I could read and understand, but that's not possible. With financial matters in this nation, I defy any one of those investment bankers to convey in language that Bush can understand the content of the document. Believe me.
You've seen one of those mortgage things that you signed. It's a stack of papers this big. You have no idea what you're signing.
And it takes you hours to sign them.
They got little red stickers. It says sign here, and you just sign here. And
how
they
about
hate, and even lawyers will take it home and have no idea.
How about this, though? You sign plus you initial. You know,
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
you have to initial all in there. You go up there, you initial here, you initial there.
And you're a lawyer. Did you read that whole thing?
Are you kidding me?
See? We have no idea what we're signing.
No,
and
not at all.
supposedly, this thing that Paulson wants to have Congress sign is 12 pages long. You know, a mortgage contract is like 150 pages long.
But a mortgage contract, is conveying, you know, $200,000, $300,000.
Yeah, this is $700 billion.
Doesn't take much paper.
700 billion. It could be 1.8 trillion. I've heard it as high as that. One economist
$750
said
billion
that.
requires 12 pages.
Do you know that a
speaking
trillion
about
is a
numbers.
million?
A million.
A million?
While we're speaking about numbers, one thing that Mr. Mayor, you brought up was the fact that Barack Obama, has the Harvard education, has had to, hold himself to a higher standard to be an equal standard. There's a poll that was just conducted, Associated Press Yahoo News poll conducted by Stanford University, which says that there is 6 points. Barack Obama could lose 6 percentage points on election day for being black.
The Bradley effect.
We talked about this over a 9-month period. We identified it as the Bradley factor. And the Bradley factor, of course, for the podcasters out there who are listening, goes back to the campaign against George Deukmejian for the governorship of the state of California, in which Tom Bradley went in on Friday before the election on Tuesday with a 5-point lead. And clearly, the polls showed that he would be the winner. No one factored in, except a few of us, the absence of the race vote. And that became identified as a Bradley factor because he lost by a few percentage
half
points.
percent.
Yeah.
0.5%, but he still lost.
He still
didn't just win the and there were some polls that had him up by 12% just before the election. And he lost by 0.5%, but he also won the exit polls. When people walked out, they didn't just lie about who they were going to vote for. They lied about who they did vote for. And some people think that's why New Hampshire went to Hillary.
Well, I got to tell you, it is clear for me that the 6 number may be low. And that's why it is absolutely important that the 12 million plus unregistered 18 years of age and over African Americans eligible to be registered, got to be registered, because every one of them, just out of race pride, will vote for Obama. He hasn't had to open his mouth at any juncture to African Americans to get them to line up behind him. That's what so knocked off Bill Clinton from his game. Bill Clinton thought in South Carolina that the long history with African Americans in the Clinton family, in the absence of any evidence of Obama doing anything black, period. That community had organized, and it wasn't just around blacks, it was around people in need in Chicago. So he did nothing to establish. He didn't show up at Sharpton's rally. He didn't go to Jenna in Louisiana, or he didn't go to Tevis Smiley's conference on black issues. It was all about race pride that prompted black people to accuse other black people who were not with him of being traitors. People like John Lewis got accused of being a traitor because he was with Hillary Clinton. So Obama